We talked last night with Bob Huggins.
We did.
And Bob Huggins had an unbelievable quote about the Big 12 next year where he said, what was it? These guys don't know what they're in for.
Basically, I feel bad for them.
I feel bad for them. Like all these new teams entering the league. We talked about it a little bit earlier today, but I kind of want to dive into it a little more. Like, what is Houston walking into? What is BYU walking into? What is this conference going to look like next season?
Houston will be fine. It's more of like poor BYU. I mean, they could barely hang this year in the WCC. Yeah. Like Mark Pope's having a hard time right now at BYU. And the way they play, how are they going to stack up athletically against those Big 12 teams? They're going to get punished. Cincinnati isn't ready for this. Wes Miller needs a couple more years, honestly, to get that Cincinnati program stable, right? Like, Houston's the only one to me that's ready to make this move.
That's it? Just Houston? RC?
What's the other one?
UCF.
Cincinnati.
Florida, you think they're ready?
No. Cincinnati?
Johnny Dawkins is probably going to be gone after this year, unless he wins a lot of games. He is. I mean, he has 1 year left in his deal.
It's hard. I do think the upside for the league with those schools is really good. I think BYU, the fan support's excellent. You get that whole state. Cincinnati has all kinds of tradition. Give West some time. He needs time, obviously, to get the type of player that you need to succeed in the Big 12. But it's going to be hard, guys. I mean, Houston's the only one that's ready to go from the jump.
Yep.
This is not like a D2 to D1 transition where you go to the NEC. Like this is big boy ball.
But I think it'll normalize the league in the aspect of what we were talking about, what has happened to the Big 12 and to the ACC, Big 10 and ACC and all those other schools. Because now there's not 10 teams that's going to play each other in the home and away.
Right.
Play a round robin, and every game is not going to be a quad one. So they're going to fall into the same thing at the end of the year. It's going to be like, did you play, let's just say for the sake of conversation, BYU is the last place team. Well, if you play BYU twice and I play Kansas twice, and you play, one.
That's what they
like,
loved about
how
the
does
Big 12.
that look out? Right.
It was great.
That was the thing I thought that separated them this past year was it was fair home and away. That's no longer the case.
And everybody was good.
And everybody was good.
Well, here's the thing about that. So if you look at the two best teams in college, or two best leagues in college basketball this season, what were they? The Big East and the Big 12. What did those two leagues have in common? They played the full round robin.
Right.
Both of them did.
Right.
You look at what happened with the Big East when they started adding all those teams 10 years ago. You had a South Florida, you're adding Tulsa, you're adding these programs like that, and that's when the league started going downhill. You look at what the Big Ten is right now. You look at the ACC. I'm sorry, guys. You look at the Pac-12. Yeah. Is this going to change what the Big 12 is?
Well, but the bottom gets you.
Yes.
That's the
Your
recurring
bottom
thing.
can't be awful, and the Big 12's bottom wasn't awful because Texas Tech rebounded at the end.
Yep.
Oklahoma State
There were only
was
10
good.
teams. Only 10 teams.
Oklahoma wasn't bad, right?
Yep.
They were all pretty good. They all did damage in the non-conference.
But I think that changes, though. Now I think that changes. I think that changes now because when you got 10, it's.
But they're not horrible. I would say this: like the 14th team is not nearly as bad, 13-14, as the 13-14 in some other leagues.
Name them.
We're gonna see.
Name them.
I mean,
name them in the mid-major plus
the
ACC.
The reason why I said it because let's take a team.
Look at the ACC.
But
they had Louisville.
I'll pick on that. Let's say ACC.
Yeah.
How good was Georgia
Louisville.
Tech at the end of the year, though?
They were good at the end. Yeah, they were good.
By the end of the year,
Sure.
that was a team that you didn't want to play. Florida State was.
Florida State got healthy.
Florida State got healthy at the end. So you can take that by record. Those are two teams that didn't have a good year, but they were two teams coming down the stretch that you didn't want to play. And I'd add another one. Y'all got on my ass about this. How good was Boston College at the end of the year?
Today's episode of the Field of 68 After Dark is presented by our partners over at Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play college basketball pick'em, where you can win real cash prizes simply by picking player stats in this weekend's Final Four games. And pick'em, all you do is pick whether a player will go higher or lower on Underdog's projected totals, whether it's points or rebounds or assists or all of them combined. If you're like me and you think Adama Sanogo is going to go nuts this weekend, pick higher on his points projection, pick higher on his rebounds projection, maybe throw in a lower on Matt Bradley's scoring totals, a higher on Isaiah Wong, whatever it is that you like. Put them all together, and if you hit them all, then you can win as much as 20 times your money on a single game. Underdog's slick mobile app is easy enough that dummies like Jeff Goodman have even figured out how to use it. So go to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app and use the code FIELD, that's FIELD, to get a 100% deposit match up to $100. I mean, they were fine. They were beating up.
They were pretty good.
They were beating up on ACC teams.
Right, they won 9 games in a mid-major plus.
Congratulations! Congratulations, you won Louisville. Woohoo! All right, let's celebrate.
Can we talk about this a little bit?
Give Earl a contract extension. You weren't Louisville.
But why are we extending a guy who went under 500 in his league? Why are ADs making dumb decisions? Why do you have to extend them? Why? I don't understand.
I think
because you got to show no more. We don't have to show. You're not recruiting a ton of high school players anymore. Everybody doesn't even need a 4-year deal to recruit anymore.
I think he's really good, and besides that, I think he's really good. And
he's really good, but again, I'm not sure he's going to be. We'll see what he's going to be able to do here at BC going forward.
Notable progress. 3 more wins than last year.
Yes.
And then
the league wasn't very good. Look at
Jeff. We then you start bringing in talent that hasn't been typical to Boston College. That is notable too.
If they do that,
they have. Been
he has done that because I think if
Quentin Post is good,
I think if Quentin Post was healthy, I think he's an all-conference caliber
Zachary's
guy.
good. They've had these dudes. So BC's had talent. Man, they had an
they had
all
two.
NBA, they had an NBA backcourt. They didn't stick, but
they had 2 guys. They had 2 guys.
Robinson and Bowman made the tournament.
No, they never made the tournament. The NIT, if you want to call the NIT a tournament.
No. They made the NCAA.
They didn't.
They never made it.
I believe they made it their year.
They had 2 guys that Jim Christian coached up. Kai Bowman was a football player. This wasn't talent coming in. Now Earl has talent coming in. They had 4 top 100 players come to 4 top 100.
Do before you okay, Oregon State gave Wayne Tinkle an extension when he went to
Okay, so that I think it's case by case. It's case by case.
What are we doing?
Yeah, case by case to Oregon State.
It makes no sense. Make smart business decisions. Where's Wayne Tinkle going? You're bidding against yourself.
I think that happens every year, though, that there's interest in coaches. You're worried that you're going to lose your guy when the cycle
Wayne
starts.
Tinkle or Earl Grant going? Nobody wants him right now. Nobody's bidding against you.
There's a lot of people willing to take Earl Grant right now.
You're out of your mind.
Yes.
I'll
say this.
Who?
Let's just say hypothetical. If Brunell didn't have the year that he had a good year. They folded down the stretch, but had a good year. And let's just say he didn't and he moved on. I think Clemson would have been interested in bringing Earl Grant back.
You think so?
I think
Mr. Clemson over here.
I would ask you that. Would you disagree with that?
No, I wouldn't.
I think they would be interested.
You think he gets the job?
After last year, I thought
after 9 wins in the league, under 500 in the league, you think he gets the job? Yes?
I think he would have been at the
You're a betting man. You're a betting man right now. Your house on the line. Who are you taking?
I think it would be between, if they did, this is all hypothetical, obviously. If they did, it would be between Earl and Bob Ritchie.
But that's I'm only saying Bob because of this year. A year ago, he didn't win the Southern Conference, so it's not, as we know, timing is such a big part of it, and it's all hypothetical. And I'll say that because I'm a big Brad Brunell
more
fan.
on ADs and the accountability they don't have and the decisions they make when they extend dudes. Again, and it's not Earl Grant and just Wayne Tinkle. It's a lot of
everybody. But that happens every year.
The Wayne Tinkle thing, I get your gripe there. With Earl, there was no talent.
I want to see another year. I want to see one more year.
Why? Hold on. Let me push back
on
whether
it goes forward.
Let me push back on the Wayne Tinkle thing.
Backward.
Goodman, let me push back on the Wayne Tinkle thing. Why? Explain to people why, after making an Elite Eight, you don't want to give that guy. Like, isn't that deserving of a reward? If you take Oregon State, the Beavers,
but how'd they get
who
in
have
the
not been,
how did they get in the tournament?
They won the Pac-12 tournament.
Pac-12
yes,
they got hot.
Yeah, okay.
But
You
that's
got
why
hot
all
at
these
the
games
time.
are here now.
That's the name of the game.
Yeah,
So
but
is that enough when you know you're going to take a step back? You know
it's enough for
body
FAU.
of work, the body of work overall says that was an outlier year and an outlier stretch. Just like North Carolina.
By the same measure, Dusty May. By the same measure,
we can
Dusty
say that
May.
with 3 of the 4 teams in this Final Four right now. The only team we probably can look at next year and say, man, they're going to be really damn good next year is UConn. Because we don't know who's coming back with any of these.
Did that hurt to say?
But Brian Dutcher's done it year in and year out.
They're all listen. All these coaches are damn good. They're all. I'm not questioning coaching ability.
Like an Oregon State situation, or again like BC given. like I just feel like okay, let's see before you start emptying the bank on a dude. Make sure he's really the right. I still don't believe he's the right guy long term for Boston College. I don't. I think he'll
Because
bring.
he'll have 2 more good years and he'll get the hell out of there.
But the problem
He'll
is,
have 2 more good years. He'll get out of
problem
there.
I'll say to that
He'll have
is-
2 good years. He'll get out.
how many guys, Boston colleges, prior to them now putting money into that program, had the worst facilities and no NIL money?
Yes.
So who's leaving a job to come and get that job anyway?